Hello, computer students. Two of the students couldn't come to the college today. Therefore, what I did is that I'm creating this video for the students to see how we did it. And this is what we created today at the college. Here, I come here and I type revenues. And then I click here, costs of goods sold, COGS, and gross. I'll tell you what these are. Imagine, and then I type here bonus. I click enter. I click rent. Here we go. And then here you go. I am going to type all of these in here. And here we go. And then I click here. And this is what I have, I have completed in here. Let's see why this one is here. Rent, gas, net. That's correct. 5 here. And then here we go. Here it is supposed to, these are what we have. That's correct. Therefore, we come here and I type here January, and then February, March, April, and May, June, July. I click here, and then I click here, and then I can customize, I can, format them. I click format cells, I click alignment, here is here, I click alignment, and then do you see here, if I click like this, it can, change this. Then imagine that I gave this example. I said that imagine that I am an owner of a, ice cream business, and I hire someone to, to sell ice cream for me. And I have a truck, I give it to him. The person sells $1,000 of ice cream in January. And then these are the other ice cream during these months that he or she will sell for me. And then what happens is that he or she buys ice creams from Walmart for 10% of what he or she sells. Because the sales are 1,000, 10% of it, here you go, I put equal sign, and then I put 10%, here you go, this is 10%, times this number, and I click enter. That is $100. Therefore, the cost of ice cream is 10% of what the person sells. And then what gross remains, that means what is remaining for me as the business owner, it's his gross income. I put equal sign, we say this number minus this number. And then I click enter. That means that when he or she sells ice cream, buys it from Walmart for $100, sells it for $1,900 remains for me for January, and these are the other months. Then I am going to give this employee a bonus. The bonus that I am going to give is that in the months that he sells or she sells a little, I don't give him any bonus. However, in May, June, anytime she sells more than $1,300, I give a $5 bonus every month. Therefore, I will put this bonus here. The rent is about 10% again of this total sales. I put equal sign, and here you go. Instead of doing that, I put my rent is 10% of the revenues. My gas for the car is 5% of this, and the salary of this employee that I have to hire is let's say 20%. Of the, 20% of 1,000, I give him a salary or her, that is $200. You see, therefore, 10% goes for the rent, here it is, 5% goes for the gas, here it is, 20% goes for the salary, which here it is. Therefore, that's the way it goes. Therefore, what I do, again, I come here and I come and I click rent, I put equal sign, this number times, I put here, times what? Times 10, this number, which is 10%. I click enter. That is $100. If I copy this, you will see a problem. And the problem that you see is that these are all zeros. The reason that these are zeros because it is here is calculating 10% of this number. While, it is calculating, it says that what is the 10% of, this number. Do you see that? I copied it from here. And I said this number. This looks at this box. This looks at this box. If you look, even if you look at here, if you look at here, therefore here you go. If you look at here, it says L4, which is L4 is right here. This is L4 times C16. Therefore, that is C16 is, C and 16. There is nothing here. If anything multiplied by that would be 0. Therefore, I click here. I want to tell the computer to, to multiply it. Here you go. I click here, and I click here, and I put equal sign, and I say this number times this number. Oops, here you go. This number, one more time. I click here, and that is, I want to multiply. I come here, I put my equal sign, and say this number times this number, but I put a dollar sign, and I'll tell you what I put a dollar sign before B and a dollar sign after B, and I click enter. That is $100. Now, I copy this one from here to here. Do you see the number is fixed? Because if you look at here, this 110 means 10% of this. This number will be multiplied by this. Therefore, that dollar sign that you see it here keeps everything fixed at this number. That is called absolute cell reference. Therefore, I do similar things in here. I put equal sign, say this number times this number, then I put a dollar sign here and a dollar sign here, and I click enter. That is $50, and I copy this one in here. That is, as again, you see. Therefore, salary is 20%. I put equal sign, and I say that, this number, let's say, I say this number times this number, and then I put a dollar sign here and a dollar sign here, and I click enter. That is, 200. I copy this one all the way through. And as you see, then these are the total expenses that I have from the 100, 150, and 300. I know it is 350. I click here, sum, and I click enter. That is 350. I am going to copy this one from here to here. As you all see, this is copied. Then I come here, and I click auto sum. Oops, it is trying to calculate from there what I want to add these numbers from here to here. Therefore, the way I do is that I click here, I click sum, and from here to here, I highlight, I click enter, 350, and I come here and do this. Therefore, that is the total expenses for this month of January, which I have given, I have not put the bonus here, but I have put other expenses that appear here. Now, I can calculate the bonus. The bonus can be calculated through if function, because we are saying that if the person is going to sell more than $1,300, I'm going to give $5. Means here $1,400, I have to give her $5. Here $5, here $5. Here I'm not going to give anything. 0, 0, 0, 0, because the sales, he or she doesn't sell enough. But we want the formula to take care of it, the if function, which means the if function is working like this. Let me delete this. Here you go. And I click delete. I click here. And look at here. I click here, if function, and here is if. Do you see? If you don't see if, you click here, and then you look for if that is logical. If is called logical. And then you see if here, and I click if. If what? If this number, do you see when I click here? If this number is greater than, if is greater than 1,300, I want this employee to get how much? This $5. Do you see here is 5? If not greater than 1,300, I want to give this person 0. Look at here, which means now the computer looks at here to see if this number is greater than, greater than 1,000. It is, therefore, it does the calculation. And if I copy there, everything will be 0. But as you know, this comes because of that cell reference problem, that the absolute cell reference. Therefore, I click here and I put a 0 in here, dollar sign in here, and the dollar sign in here. And then I click enter, and then I copy this one. Do you see the 5 appeared here because of those dollar signs that I put? By putting a dollar sign, I am telling that always look at this box. Don't jump to this box. Those dollar signs, keep the eyes on this box, and they prevent them from these boxes, which are 0, nothing in there. Therefore, that is the calculation. Now I can come and this is the net. Here you go. The net, of course, I was not supposed to calculate the net. The net here is calculated. The way it is calculated is, let me delete this. These are what the calculation of net. Here you go. I click here. Let's see if it deletes them. Okay, delete. Okay, and let me delete this. Delete this. These are the total we are going to see. And the way we calculate this is that I put my equal sign. $900 remained for me because he or she sold 1,000 ice cream. $100 of it went but to buy ice cream. $900 remained. Then the rest of it I have to pay for, the salary of this employee and for the rent and for the gas and those things. Therefore, I put my equal sign. Here you go. And then I say this number minus this number. Okay, that way, these are the expenses. This is what remains in my pocket. And I click here and I copy everything all the way here. And these are the money that every month remains for me after I pay for the ice cream, pay for the bonus, rent, gas. This is how much money I make. And then if I want to see during, suppose from January to July, how much I make, I come here and I order some, and then okay. For example, I am making $5,005, $5,005 in here. Now I can come and use a function which I call this function. Imagine that I come here and click data, and this is what I make: $5,000 a year, for example. Then I mean for 7 months. Therefore, I do want what if analysis. Imagine I need more money. I want $5,300 as a businessman. Therefore, I try to cut back on your salary of 20%. Maybe I should give you 18%, maybe 17%. I don't know. In order for me to have, I like to have $5,500. I don't want to have $5,005. Therefore, I do what if analysis. I click goal seek. I am looking for my goal. My goal is that this box to be 5,500 by changing what? I want by changing which cell. I want this cell. That means to, pay you less. And then I click OK. Do you see that? It became 550, 5,500. And guess what? This one jumped from 20% to 15%. Then I come and tell you, hey, I cannot pay you 20%. I am going to pay you 15%. Why did I do that? Is because I wanted to, I was looking for, I did what? If analysis. Therefore, that is the way if analysis work. Imagine that you say that, oh, you are going to quit if I am going to cut 15%. Therefore, I say, okay, now let's go ahead and, just settle for $5,200. Here you go. This box, you want 5,200 because the employee said he's going to or she's going to leave. Therefore, I click here and I click OK. Okay, that becomes 502. But therefore, I come and say, okay, I am not going to, drop it to 1,500. To 15%, I give you 18%. Therefore, that is the way it works. I click delete here. And sometimes you can create charts for this. Look at here, insert. And then one of the charts is called line chart. I click here. It says I want to create line charts for what? I want to create line charts for this. Do you see it is going up? That means in January, February, it goes, the sales go up as then I can copy this one all the way through. These are the charts. Do you see this one is unusual? You know why this one is unusual? Because it is 0 here. The rest of them keep going up, but this one is a little bit, bent. Therefore, or I can use another chart. The other chart I can use is called, suppose I click, column chart. Look at here. I click column chart. That means this becomes a column. I can, these are the column chart. Do you see here? This one is unusual, this one, because it's 0, 0, 0, and then here it is. And also, I can use another chart. Let's say I highlight this, and I want this one. This time, the Excel tell me what chart is best for this. I come here, recommended charts. When I click recommended charts, Excel is recommending this chart, which is very nicely. It shows, it shows nicely. And then I can come here, I click here, and then I can move the chart to another page and, do, fancy things. Just I wanted you to see this chart. and therefore, if you have any questions, you let me know. And this is what we covered, in the class. And I click here, and then I will send you this, at other students, submitted this in class on the discussion board, and they posted on the discussion board. And there are two in class, subjects you may submit it